Now, verse 24, it says, 70 weeks are determined upon thy people and upon thy holy city to finish the transgression and to make an end of sins and to make reconciliation for iniquity, to bring in everlasting righteousness, to seal up the vision and prophecy, and to anoint the most holy. Okay? Now, the angel's telling him, Gabriel's telling Daniel, 70 weeks were determined. In other words, it's 70 weeks left to finish off the 70 years to be in Babylon. It was 70 weeks left. It's 52 weeks in a year. Okay? 4 weeks in a month. So 52 from 70 leaves 18. 4 goes into 18 4 times. Okay? So it was a year and 4.5 months left. Remember now, the Chaldean Babylonian kingdom fell in 538 BCE. Okay? Remember that the children of, Yehuda, Benjamin, and Jerusalem, the whites, they went into captivity. Daniel was in that first group. Okay? Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, commonly called Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. That first bunch was taken up into Babylon in 606. So 70 from 606 is 536. So when the Babylonian kingdom fell in 538, it's telling you these 70 weeks left. It was a year and 4.5 months left to finish out the 70 years. And that's what Gabriel's telling Daniel. All right? This is in verse 24. And he's telling him to make an end of sins, to make reconciliation for iniquity, to bring in everlasting righteousness, because again, this prophecy that Yah had spoken through Isaiah, in chapter 45, Isaiah, okay? Last verse of 44 in chapter 45. Remember now, this prophecy had taken place, had come forth from Yah back in the time of Isaiah, which is in the 8th century BCE. Approximately a couple of hundred years. Okay? A couple of hundred years from the time that this actually was fulfilled. Okay? So now it's sealing up this vision and prophecy of Isaiah, and he's telling them how it's going to seal up the vision and prophecy of Jeremiah. All right? And when it says to anoint the most holy, it was to anoint Yah as it did. And we're going to show you this in the eyes of all these nations that, had heard of this prophecy in the known world. Okay? And the book's going to tell you this. Now, verse 25. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem unto the Messiah the Prince shall be 7 weeks, 62 weeks. So that's 69 weeks. 7, 62. That's 69 weeks. And Yah is saying through Gabriel to Daniel that the commandment to restore and build Jerusalem, okay, this commandment that was going to come forth to the Messiah the Prince to restore and build Jerusalem was going to come forth in 69 more weeks. So the angels tell him, Gabriel's telling him, you got 70 weeks left. But the commandment to restore and build Jerusalem that's going to come forth to the Messiah the Prince is going to come forth in after the 69th week. You follow me? You understand? When it was only going to be 1 more week left to finish out the 70 years. Now, right there, let's go over to the book of Ezra. Okay? The book of Ezra, chapter 1. Now, matter of fact, I tell you what, let's go into the last few verses of 2 Chronicles in the last chapter, chapter 36. 2 Chronicles, chapter 36. Okay? And we're going to pick it up at verse 21. Okay? 2 Chronicles, 36th chapter, 21st verse. Okay? And it says, to fulfill the word of Yah by the mouth of Jeremiah, until the land had enjoyed her Sabbaths, for as long as she lay desolate, she kept Sabbath to fulfill 70 years, 70 years. Now in the first year of Cyrus, king of Persia, this is verse 22, that the word of Yah spoken by the mouth of Jeremiah might be accomplished, Yah stirred up the spirit of Cyrus, king of Persia, that he made a proclamation throughout all his kingdom, and put it also in writing, saying, Thus saith Cyrus, king of Persia, all the kingdoms of the earth hath Yah the strong one of heaven given me, and he hath charged me to build him a house in Jerusalem, which is in Yahudah. Who is there among you of all his people? Yah his strong one, or God, be with him, and let him go up. All right, this is the command, all right, that we just read over in Daniel chapter 9, right, verse 25. This is the command that came forth from Cyrus the Great. Okay, now, just so we can get more clarity here, you go over into chapter 45. Keep your hand in Ezra, because we're going to come back to that. And go over to chapter 45, Isaiah. And I'm going to read the last verse in chapter 44, Isaiah, and I'm going to continue on into chapter 45. That saith of Cyrus, this is Yah talking, in this last verse of 44, that says of Cyrus, he is my shepherd, and shall perform all my pleasure, even saying to Jerusalem, thou shalt be built, and to the temple thy foundation shall be laid. Now, chapter 45, thus saith Yah to his anointed, to Cyrus, whose right hand I have holden, to subdue nations before him. And I will loose the loins of kings, to open before him the two-leaved gates. The gate shall not be shut. I will go before thee and make the crooked places straight. I will break in pieces the gates of brass and cut in sunder the bars of iron. I will give thee the treasures of darkness and hidden riches of secret places, that you may know that I, Yah, which called thee by thy name, am the strong one, O God of Israel. For Jacob my servant's sake, and Israel mine elect, I have even called thee by thy name. Now this is Yah talking about. He's even called Cyrus. He's raised him up. He's surnaming him the Great. And he is called Cyrus by his name. Okay? And it says, okay. He says, call thee by thy name, and am the God of Israel. For Jacob my servant's sake, and Israel mine elect, I have even called thee by thy name. I have surnamed thee, though you have not known me. Because Cyrus was a Persian. He had not known Yah, from birth. He wasn't raised in the knowledge of Yah. But at some point, he found out. He heard about this prophecy. And then when he started conquering these nations, you follow me? In the process, he understood that Yah had given him the power to do this. It had already been prophesied here in Isaiah, a couple of 100 years prior to Cyrus's birth and coming on the scene and accomplishing the will of Yah. Okay, remember now, Cyrus didn't rise up until around 548 BCE. This prophecy that we're reading here of Isaiah was approximately 200 years earlier. Anywhere from like 160, 70 years to 200 years earlier. Okay? So now what does it say? It says in verse 5, I am Yah, and there is none else. There is no God or strong one beside me. I girded thee, though you have not known me, that they may know from the rising of the sun and from the west, that there is none beside me. I am Yah, and there is none else. Okay, that's verse 6. I form the light, I create darkness, I make peace and create evil. I, Yah, do all these things. Okay, I, Yah, do all these things. All right, now when you drop down into, well, let's go back to we're gonna come back here to Isaiah, but let's go back to Ezra.